Draft nerds, welcome in. Right now, it's time for my top 10 edge rushers heading into the 2025 NFL Draft. This is early, it's still November, still got college football games, about half the NFL season left. Teams will rise up the draft board, fall down the draft board, players will do the same. Got a long pre-draft lead up. This is just kind of an introduction to some of these players, and these are not final evaluations. Again, they still have football left to play. They still have testing. They still have all-star games, all that type of stuff. But wanted to give y'all an idea of where I'm at with this top 10 in the edge class. And quite frankly, I think it could be a pretty darn good edge class. But there's some variance. There's some project-y type of prospects, right? So I'm really excited to get into it. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content here, NFL draft content, NFL news as well, please consider liking and subscribing. Helps me out a ton, right? So I mentioned top 10. At 10, I went with two players tied because I couldn't quite get it down to 10. And their teammates, JT Tuimoloau and Jack Sawyer. I think that right now, when you watch these two guys play, and JT, he's been at Ohio State for a long time, but he's still only 21 years old, a young prospect still. And when you watch Jack, you see two guys that are big, powerful, strong defensive ends, 4-3 base defensive ends, two guys that I think can start in the NFL, two guys that both have very good run defense instincts and consistency against the run. I think that they can be starters in base for you for sure. The questions really come for me when it comes to overall athleticism, pass rush upside, right? I think that if I was going to take one guy to have more upside as a pass rusher, I would say it's JT. But I think Jack Sawyer is ahead of him as a pass rusher right now. I think Jack Sawyer has a little bit more refinement with his game, a little bit more polish, whereas JT, you see some incredible flashes. You see him convert that speed to power. I mean, his performance against Olu Fashanu at Penn State was unbelievable. It was the worst that Fashanu looked during his time in college. So these two guys, again, I think they can be starters in the NFL. Base 4-3 defensive end starters. The question really is, do they become big-time pass rush guys? Or are they just a solid number two? That's really the question. But I think if you need, that solid play on the edge, both of those guys can give it to you. And I think JT has a little bit more upside because I think there is some more explosiveness to him and more speed to power. And he just has a little bit further to go with the development, right? So both of those guys I would be looking at day two of the 2025 NFL Draft. At number 9. Got a guy who didn't start watching until recently. Very intrigued by him. Donovan Ezeiruaka. Hopefully I'm not absolutely butchering that last name, but he's the edge rusher out of Boston College. He's about 6'4", 6'5", in the mid 250s. This is a player who you watch him on tape and some of the plays he makes are absolutely incredible. I think he's polished. I think he's a polished player against the run. I think he's also polished as a pass rusher, has a lot of nuance to his game, has a handful of pass rush moves that he can get to with ease against a lot of college prospects. Now, the issue here for me is I don't know how much more you're going to get out of him than what you're getting right now. I think he's a good athlete, not a great athlete. I think he has good overall size and length, not great overall size and length. I think that strength-wise, power-wise, again, good, not great. So I think he has the floor of a solid rotational player who can help you against the run and the pass. I think he has the ceiling of probably a number 2 edge rusher that can be very productive if he has a truly elite guy across from him. So I think Ezeiruaka could have a very nice NFL career, but don't know. I'm really excited to see his testing and how he looks throughout the pre-draft lead up. I do really like his game. He's very productive. very solid against the run, again, in college. I just wonder about the overall physical profile. Not that it's bad. It's not bad at all, but it's certainly not elite. It's not great. Is it in that good range from an athleticism and strength and length standpoint? That's my question. I think it is. So I think, again, looking at a day 2 guy here. At number 8, kind of a hybrid player, Jaylen Walker, linebacker / edge out of Georgia, really has done more at linebacker for the Georgia Bulldogs than edge, but you do see him line up at edge, and he is just an absolute freak show. So kind of like a lot of the Georgia guys coming out, it takes projection because you haven't seen it a ton. If you do want to convert him to a full-time edge, or maybe like a Sam backer that a lot of times he's on the line of scrimmage, can also fall back into coverage and do different things for you, come downhill and shoot gaps. I mean, Jaylen Walker is a freak show type of talent, and so I think that he might sneak into the first round. But from a pass rush, edge shedding, nuance standpoint, it's not there for him. It's not, but you see the upside, no question about it. And you see the impact. At 7, I have Shemar Stewart out of Texas A&M. Big time recruit a few years back. And this is a guy that could certainly rise up these boards, could be a first-round pick potentially. He's a freak. And a lot of these guys we're going to talk about, they're freak shows. He is one of the bigger type of edge guys, listed at like 290 pounds. I think he has the length, and his explosiveness and overall athletic profile at his size with his length is rare. And you already see he has not only the physical ability, but the mental awareness and mental acuity to be a very, very good run defender and edge setter at the NFL level. Everything else, still a little bit of a work in progress, right? But he has Pro Bowl upside without question. Shemar Stewart does. And at worst, I think you're getting a base 4-3 end or 3-4 defensive end. I think he could do either for you. I think he can kick inside if you need to. I think he's got the talent to do that, the physical strength to do that. But still kind of reaching that next level as a pass rusher will be key for Shemar Stewart. At number 6, another player I think could go in the first round, Princely Umanmielen, Florida transfer to Ole Miss. This guy, he's not big. He's not like a 270, 280, 290 pound rusher, right? He's more in that 250 to 260 pound range, but his get off, his bend, very good length, very explosive, and he's got an arsenal of he can hit the spin move, he can dip and rip, he can rush through your face, he can set the edge against the run. I think for Princely Umanmielen, there's no question about the physical traits and a lot of the ability on the football field and the skill set. Like, he has developed an NFL skill set. Really, the questions come more with consistency and maturity. And I don't know him personally, right? But you heard issues about him and maybe needing to stay off social media and just making sure that his head's in the right place. And so I think Princely Umanmielen, as long as you're getting a guy that can be focused and can be a professional at the next level, because, every single one of these players has to continue to develop. You can't come in and just be what you are, right? You have to continue to develop. If you get a guy that is willing to be committed to being a professional, Princely Umanmielen could be a double-digit sack type of player early in his career. That's the type of skill set he has. So that's the question with him, right? At number 5, I have LT Overton out of Alabama. Very young prospect. Few of these guys are pretty young that are going to be coming up here. And I think LT Overton is just so exciting with his blend of size. Another guy that's 283, 285 pounds, absolute behemoth out there. And you see Alabama kick him inside to rush against guards, and it is game over from the jump. Too quick, too explosive. Got nice hands. He knows how to use his hands for an inexperienced player. And Somebody who I kind of compare to Keon White. I've looked at him in that regard quite a bit. I think that he has so much potential, so much talent, size, explosiveness, athleticism. It's all there for LT Overton, and it's just continuing to develop. And I think he could be a high impact defensive end at the next level. The way he kind of like Shemar Stewart, I think he's a little bit more advanced with his pass rush than Shemar Stewart, but the way those guys can move at their size, truly unbelievable. Then you get to Nic Scourton, same thing. Transferred to Texas A&M this year. He's Shemar Stewart's teammate. They've also got Shemar Turner on that defensive line. This guy, I think he probably put on a little bit too much weight at Texas A&M. I think they tried to beef him up a little bit too much. I think he was a little bit more athletic looking and quick and nimble looking prior to transferring there, but still playing very well for them. He just has more natural bend and athleticism, flexibility than guys at his size should. He's like 285 pounds right now. Get him down to in the 270 range. I think you could feel really excited about where he is, maybe in the 260s. He's a solid prospect as it is, but he can unleash spin moves on you. He can defend the run at an extremely high level. He can shoot gap. I mean, he's a hell of a prospect. So I'm excited to continue to see what goes on with him moving forward and him continuing to develop. He was one of the most productive rushers in the country last year. At Texas A&M, they kind of do rotations, a lot of talent on that defensive line. So maybe not having the most opportunistic year that he could. And again, probably put on a little bit too much weight in my opinion, but I think he could be a superstar in the NFL. Mykel Williams, Georgia, defensive end. This guy, insane length. Absolutely insane length. And explosiveness, athleticism. He is tall, 6'6", 265, 270 pounds. I would probably like to see him be able to improve his pad level. And as a pass rusher, still an extremely raw prospect. Everybody wants to compare him to Trayvon Walker. I think both guys need to develop a pass rush, both guys being incredible athletes and having great length and strength and being able to play the run at an extremely high level from day one. I think all those things do align. I think Trayvon was a little bit more nimble and maybe a little bit more flexible. But I think Mykel, immediate starter, who's going to stop the run and make splash plays, and you just continue to develop that pass rush profile, that pass rush plan, and he's going to be just trouble. And that you're seeing Trayvon Walker give teams trouble, right? He double-digit sacks in 2023. He's now developed into a pretty well-rounded, impactful beast of an edge. At number 2 and number 1, got a couple guys who no questions about their pass rush, right? In my opinion. James Pearce at number 2 out of Tennessee, on the smaller side, right? I do think he's going to have adequate length. I don't think his arms are too short or anything like that. And adequate size. And I think you can add a little bit to his frame to probably get him into the 250s. But shot out of a cannon off the edge, absolute beast. And when it comes to pass rushing, and he can win on the outside arc, get to his spot, flatten, and get to the quarterback. Then he can cross your face because you're so scared that he's going to beat you around the edge. He does that at an extremely high level. He can run through you as well. He's going to be a big-time pass rusher in the NFL. I think, can he be an impactful run defender? Yeah. Can he be a consistent run defender? I'm not sure. But I think he's a 3-4 outside linebacker who can be excellent in that role in the NFL. At number 1, that's Abdul Carter. And I said I don't have questions about these guys, their ability to pass rush at 1 and 2. And Abdul Carter, Penn State, was playing linebacker, off-ball linebacker for them, has converted to an edge. Heard that story before, right? I'm not comparing him to Micah Parsons, but golly, Penn State knows how to put out some athletes. And Abdul Carter, early on this year in his transition to full-time edge, was a little slow getting off, and not physically slow, but like, getting that production going, getting his pass rush plan and executing some different things. It was taking a second, but you've seen him come on huge over the last several weeks, especially, against Big Ten competition versus some of the early season, easier level of competition types of games. He's playing so much better when these games matter more, and you're starting to see a pass rush plan. You're starting to see swipes. You're starting to see him be able to rush through your face and just use so much explosiveness and athleticism and speed to power to knock you back and then get around. He's a special athlete. I think Abdul Carter is going to end up being an absolute menace in the NFL. And that's why I have him at number 1 overall. I'm excited about this edge class. Is it like the most refined edge class we've ever seen necessarily? No. But I think there's a lot of talent, and there's a more than a handful of players that we did not mention in this top 10 that I think could have, some nice impacts at the NFL level. So fired up for it. Let me know what y'all think about this edge class in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoy the content, really helps out. All you got to do is like and subscribe, hit that notification bell. Y'all have a good one.